Hello again. Welcome back to year 5 of the Religious Education Initiative. This is week 34 and Bright Week. So, Christos Anesti, Christ is risen. As we begin the final third of year 5, we will pause for one more week from our normal narrative readings and return once again to the book of Proverbs. This book, written mostly or substantially by a father seeking to provide good guidance to his son, and then including other proverbs from the wise, directs all of us to walk the narrow path of faithfulness, avoiding the common temptations and holding fast to the Lord in all things. It is a beautiful reminder of the essential responsibilities of parents to their children and of children to their parents. This is chapter 28. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. When a land transgresses, it has many rulers, but with men of understanding and knowledge, its stability will long continue. A poor man who oppresses the poor is a beating rain that leaves no food. Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law strive against them. Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand it completely. Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is perverse in his ways. He who keeps the law is a wise son, but a companion of gluttons shames his father. He who augments his wealth by interest and increase gathers it for him who is kind to the poor. If one turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer is an abomination. He who misleads the upright into an evil way will fall into his own pit, but the blameless will have a goodly inheritance. A rich man is wise in his own eyes, but a poor man who has understanding will find him out. When the righteous triumph, there is great glory, but when the wicked rise, men hide themselves. He who conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. Blessed is the man who fears the Lord always, but he who hardens his heart will fall into calamity. Like a roaring lion or a charging bear is a wicked ruler over a poor people. A ruler who lacks understanding is a cruel oppressor, but he who hates unjust gain will prolong his days. If a man is burdened with the blood of another, let him be a fugitive until death. Let no one help him. He who walks in integrity will be delivered, but he who is perverse in his ways will fall into a pit. He who tills his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits will have plenty of poverty. A faithful man will abound with blessings, but he who hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. To show partiality is not good, but for a piece of bread a man will do wrong. A miserly man hastens after wealth and does not know that want will come upon him. He who rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with his tongue. He who robs his father or his mother and says, "That is no transgression," is the companion of a man who destroys. A greedy man stirs up strife, but he who trusts in the Lord will be enriched. He who trusts in his own mind is a fool, but he who walks in wisdom will be delivered. He who gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eyes will get many a curse. When the wicked rise, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase. One who is often reproved yet remains stubborn will suddenly be broken beyond healing. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. A child who loves wisdom makes a parent glad, but to keep company with prostitutes is to squander one's substance. By justice a king gives stability to the land, but one who makes heavy exactions ruins it. Whoever flatters a neighbor is spreading a net for the neighbor's feet. In the transgression of the evil there is a snare, but the righteous sing and rejoice. The righteous know the rights of the poor, the wicked have no such understanding. Scoffers set a city aflame, but the wise turn away wrath. If the wise go to law with fools, there is ranting and ridicule without relief. The bloodthirsty hate the blameless, and they seek the life of the upright. A fool gives full vent to anger, but the wise quietly holds it back. If a ruler listens to falsehood, all his officials will be wicked. The poor and the oppressor have this in common: the Lord gives light to the eyes of both. If a king judges the poor with equity, his throne will be established forever. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a mother is disgraced by a neglected child. When the wicked are in authority, transgression increases, but the righteous will look upon their downfall. Discipline your children, and they will give you rest. They will give delight to your heart. Where there is no prophecy, the people cast off restraint, but happy are those who keep the law. By mere words, servants are not disciplined, for though they understand, they will not give heed. Do you see someone who is hasty in speech? There is more hope for a fool than for anyone like that. A slave pampered from childhood will come to a bad end. One given to anger stirs up strife, and the hothead causes much transgression. A person's pride will bring humiliation, but one who is lowly in spirit will obtain honor. To be a partner of a thief is to hate one's own life. One hears the victim's curse, but discloses nothing. The fear of others lays a snare, but one who trusts in the Lord is secure. Many seek the favor of a ruler, but it is from the Lord that one gets justice. The unjust are an abomination to the righteous, but the upright are an abomination to the wicked. All right. So really these are a collection of proverbs, and a lot of them have to do about society at large, rulers and workers and so forth. But we can see a basic principle established here of what a blessed society, a blessed family, a blessed person is like, and conversely, what a curse is. We need to remember these are all written down, these are all composed and recorded during the period of the kingdoms of Israel, between the time of Solomon and the fall of the kingdom of Jerusalem. So there are, for the wise, plenty of object lessons, plenty of opportunities to observe what faithlessness looks like. And that is fundamentally the point. Faithfulness to God is its own reward and receives manifold rewards from God. Faithlessness to God brings evil upon ourselves and our children. So, since we said this is about parents and children, let's look specifically at a few of these from the second chapter we read, from chapter 29, I believe, that deal with these things. So, first, from verse 15 of chapter 29, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a mother is disgraced by a neglected child. So what we're saying here is not beat your children, but correct them, teach them, and guide them. Because a child who is neglected is not an embarrassment to his or herself, it's an embarrassment to the parents who neglected the work of teaching. So this is something we all need to take to heart. If we are blessed with children or godchildren, then we have a responsibility to convey wisdom, to instruct them, even to correct them, sometimes to punish them, not with violence and anger, but with love, with wisdom. And then discipline your children, and they will give you rest. They will give delight to your heart. Okay, that sounds good. But where there is no prophecy, which is to say no discipline, no teaching, the people cast off restraint. But those who keep the law, the Torah, the teaching of the Lord, those are happy. And then the other thing, in verse 21, a slave, but sometimes also a child. Because in Greek, paidion can be both child and slave or servant. So a slave or child, pampered from childhood, will come to a bad end. And these things, they remind us we have a responsibility to teach, to instruct by example and by word and by action. If we enable bad behavior and foolishness in our children or in ourselves, then we will reap an evil fruit. So may the Lord protect us against this as we celebrate his resurrection and rejoice in the coming of the kingdom. May we be blessed to live worthily and fittingly as citizens of the kingdom. Amen. We'll see you shortly for day 2. God bless you all.